Right, I'm back with another video. And this time it's the June update. Time's passing by quick now, so I thought I'd better get a video out before it's July. Right, so I'll show you what I've been doing on the railway so far. There's not a lot to see apart from wiring. Almost at the end of the wiring for the first section, which is a station module, and then I'll have to wire the second section, which is a goods yard module. But this DCC wiring, I'm having to figure out a system that suits me and the what I can understand. But yeah, I'll show you what I've been doing. The way I do wiring, I try and keep it neat. I just use these cable clip things that you knock in with it. There's a nail and you just knock them in. It's cheap and simple kind of way of doing it. But it just keeps things neat. And obviously you can braid your wires so they're a lot neater if you've got two wires together. So yeah, that's how I'm wiring things. Red and black, red for positive, black for negative, you know, the standard sort of colours that you'd use in a wiring system. Green for the frog, which I think it was Little Wicket Railways on YouTube. He said he thinks of a green frog, and I thought, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, I've gone with a green wire for the frog. Polarity. So yeah, I've just used these solenoid motors and a switch that glues on the end, and then you attach it to the point with a rod. There's like a metal rod inside. I'll show you the top of the board in a minute. So yeah, I'm just keeping it basic and simple. I don't want to computerise my railway. I hate the idea of having computers, you know, doing everything for you. I want to be playing with my railway, you know. So it's going to be a bit of a mix-up of modern DCC and DC way of doing things, you know, keep it simple. And I'm going to have a switching system so I can use DC as well as DCC, so I'll be able to run pretty much anything I've got, all my locomotives and that. Right, I'll show you the top of the baseboard, make it a bit more interesting than just looking at a pile of spaghetti. Yeah, so this is how far I got with the platform before I realised that I probably need to airbrush the dirt on the track and the rust before I ballast it, because you're supposed to lay down this edging strip and then, like what I've said, just paint your track, ballast, put the ballast in, so that this, well, I suppose this is acting as like a protection for your station, but I'm not going to actually fix a station on until like it's been built and I know where it's actually going to sit. And by that time the ballast will have dried, and it's not going to affect the printed paper, so it stains the paper, you know, because you're using PVA glue mixture when you're ballasting the track. So it makes sense, really. I've just adjusted the lighting because it was a bit wrong. Yeah, so that's it really. I'm using those little screws as well to balance the points, because sometimes when you've been soldering things on these points, they warp a little bit. Trains running over these tracks can sometimes derail. Using these little screws, I can sort of adjust it little bit by bit to make it sort of run flat, so the wagon's running over it nicely and the locomotives and that. Sort of like this, you know, so it's nice and smooth. There's no rattling as it goes over the track. There's no jumping about or anything. And change the point so it goes down here. So it's a nice smooth run. Right, I've got the buildings in place now. They're not exactly in place where they will be, but obviously they're going to be sat on top of a platform, don't forget. So these will be raised up a little bit. The bridge will be the correct height. As you can see, I've put in the wall at the back. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to have a road going up to the next section of the layout. So that'll be hopefully going up to a colliery, and there'll be some colliery houses and a pit, and you know, the pit head and all that kind of stuff. So I'll be building the double platform canopy along here, so there's another one of these to build, and I've got to paint this yet as well. There's a couple of small buildings I'll be putting on this platform here. There's nothing else apart from a fence to go on here then, and at the back there'll be like a fence going down here somewhere, right to pretty much to the end of the platform. The other side of the fence, that'll be turned into a road which will be going down to the goods shed, which will be over here. So there you go. That's what I've done this month so far on the railway, but yeah, it just all takes time, but it will come together quite quick once I get the ballast finished and I get the wiring finished and I start putting in the point motors for the goods yard and making the goods shed and making the signal box. So yeah, it's going to look quite good. So there's going to be quite a bit of interest on the actual railway itself, even though it's just a small tight area. It's only like a shelf unit, this part of the layout. It restricts you into what you can do with terrain, so you've got to be clever with your background and your buildings and how you position them and things. So yeah, and then it'll be onto the good stuff, onto the colliery, which I can't wait to make. I've always wanted a colliery on the railway, so yeah. And that'll be on another level, so the other sections of the railway going that way and that way, there'll be a raised up unit, so I'll have the chance to put a viaduct in somewhere, and there'll be a gasworks as well and a terminus large town station, and obviously at this side there's going to be a terminus station as well, a small town terminus. So yeah, it's going to be like a L-shaped layout with maybe like a, see if I can make an out and back layout so that the train can go one way and then come back the other way. I'm going to see if I can fit that in, but we will have to see in the future how that goes. It's been a bit of a waffle, this video, but yeah, hopefully that's satisfied your curiosity for this month. Yeah, right, so bye for now.